let's bring on this. Now I actually don't have one of these, I don't own one myself, which is a shame because I quite like the Triang Pullman. I know some of you guys out there have got a £600 Bachmann one. I'm sorry, but that would just break my heart. 600 quid for a train. So let's have a look at this. See, this has been off before and it's not through me neither. First time I've seen this. I didn't even know it recently had one of these. So there you go, that's it, mount off. Plastic wheels on the trailing end. Hate plastic wheels. Might have a look later and see what I've got. Wow, they're dirty. They're real dirty. I don't know whether this is picking up whether you can see us on camera, but them wheels are rotten. The old Triang ones, they're not the oversized rims, thank God. There's little to no oil in there. You've all seen these before. In particular, John's Amazing Trains, or as it used to be called, Cham's 123, is an absolute wizard with this stuff, and I do mean that honestly. He's a friggin' wizard, that bloke. It's where I learnt a lot of the stuff that I know now. Well, you know, what I've picked up is by watching John. So let's have a little look, see if he's right about it smelling, as he says. Let's apply a little bit of cable's going to come off. Oh, she's buzzing. But that's all she's doing. She ain't doing nothing else. Right folks, I'm going to strip this. You don't need to see me strip it because there's millions of people who strip these damn things. So I'll be back in a bit. Hi folks, right, we're back. I've now stripped it. As I said, there was no point in you sitting watching that. Lots of people have done it before, don't need me to do it for you. So let me just spin this around a little and make sure I've got everything in. So, this way Paul. That one holds the mount onto the top of the motor. So you can see I've got it all set out in places. There's the contacts board and what have you. The wheels and the retaining screws. Magnet, the bearings and the felt pads, mounting clips and the two motor retainers, and the actual motor itself, which really it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. So anyway, one thing I did notice was there's a fair bit of gunk on this, and underneath there's a shed load of oil. So, not advertising, I'm just showing you that bit. Lighter fluid. I used to use a proper, I can't remember what they call the stuff now, but I used to use a proper stuff for doing all of this. And then I was watching one of John's videos, John's Amazing Trains again one day, and he was using lighter fluid, and I thought, well, that guy knows what he's doing, so if lighter fluid's good for him, it's good for me, because it's a lot cheaper than using these cleaners that they sell you in the model shops. Lot cheaper, as in, I don't know, I think I paid about maybe £8 for the stuff I bought before, and this stuff was £1 out of the pound shop. So all for doing things cheaply where I can. Obviously I can't do things cheaply all the time because I have to spend money occasionally, like that bloody expensive wheel spacer you've just seen. So I mean, it is good at cleaning it off. Look at the muck on that. You know, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? It does its job. It cleans it, it gets rid of everything, and then it just nicely evaporates for you. So I'm just trying to get rid of all the oil and the crud and everything else that's on this, because as you can see it's rotten. and I'm not saying this in a big headed way, but this to me just proves that I've never seen this train, because whenever I get these trains in, to be honest with you, this is the first thing I do with every one of them, is to strip it and clean it. First thing I do every time without fail, because they're always usually full of rubbish, oil, hairs, you name it, it's got all sorts of shit in it. And we all know that none of that stuff is conducive to trains running properly. No, we're not doing that. Sorry folks, I'm just trying to join into my wife's conversation in the passage.
You're busy?
I know I'm busy, I'm just wondering what it is that you're doing, or not doing as the case is. Say hello to YouTube.
Hello. We're going to talk some more.
So, there's more muck in here than I thought there was. Clean these ones and it's still coming out with black crud on it. Unbelievable. This has never seen a clean in a long time. Right, okay, so that's that little bit done. Just a little bit more fluid. And we'll have a little look at this, which to be fair isn't too bad at all really. I've dealt with a lot worse, an awful lot worse. Just be careful there, because I'm getting... Cotton buds are good for not damaging things, but they're also really good for getting snagged up on stuff, which is a shame. Threads are pretty clean on there. Coils look like they've had a lot of wear over the years. But the copper face on this is really not bad at all. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Now I want to clean some other stuff, and some of you might think, why, what are you doing that for? Well, I just like to be clean. It's important really that these are done, because they're sitting around the motor, so we don't want them being full of rubbish and junk that they can transfer on or whatever else. But you can see there, it's not rotten, it's not filthy dirty, but at the same time it ain't clean. There you are, you can see that. So it's worth doing it. You know, it's no hardship, you've already got it out. And you're already almost stuffed. Just don't, you see, you can see there's a little mark on there. That's for me when I'm putting it back together. The motor's got a little L on it as well, and it's just to tell me which is left side, so that the magnet isn't back to front. Right, so that's that cleaned. Now then, these little bearings, yeah, they're alright. They are desperately dry though, and I mean like really, really dry. So they could do with an oiling, which is probably why it won't run. Just bear with me folks while I see where I get to with these, getting some of the muck off them. Yeah, oh dear me, look at that. That won't be doing very well for pickups. I'm going to go off camera a second folks. Again, not being ignorant, not trying to hide anything, I can't see. It's quite that simple. Blind, you know. Part of the fun of getting old, I suppose. Wow. There is some muck and crud on these. Look at the colour of that. Is it any wonder it wouldn't run? Good God. Unbelievable. So it's got filthy dirty surfaces even, get it right Paul, filthy dirty surfaces that the contacts can't get through, so it's not delivering any real juice to it as such, and no oil. Interesting to say the least. No wonder it wouldn't go anywhere and it wouldn't do anything. Uncle Jed, like I've said to you before, you need to get your trains out and run them more often. Trains sitting in drawers aren't good, because at the end of the day all that's happening is they're just going dry on you, and you know, they start kind of seizing up a little bit. Which is fine if you know what you're doing to make sure that if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing to put them back on. Look at this. If you know what you're doing to get them running again, that's fine. Crack on. Put your trains wherever you want and store them forever. Doesn't matter. But when you don't, like my uncle, then really probably the best way to combat some of these problems is just to get them out and run them. Filthy dirty. So much crap. Wow. Lots and lots of dirt on these. Lots of dirt. They're not bad. And actually neither are they. I was concerned that it might be the brushes that were the issue. But no, I thought maybe they were getting a little bit long in the tooth and they'd seen better days. But there's still a fair old chunk of meat on those. Fair bit of meat on them, so I'm thinking that we don't need to mess about with those. That's got jammed under there now, look. Come on, come out the way. Sorry folks, I know I'm in the way half the time here, but you all know what it's like when you're trying to do this sort of thing, and it's over the shoulder. This is a Paul Norman production, not the BBC. So I'm doing my best. So there you go. I've cleaned everything up. I am going to just whiz over these wheels, but I won't bother boring you with that. It's fairly straightforward stuff. And I'm going to put it back together and see if all this crap and a bit of oil will make a difference. See you in a bit. So folks, where have I got to? Right. Well, you saw me earlier cleaning it all up and what have you. And I've put it back together. Now I don't put it completely back together because obviously what I want to do is I want to check the motor. But one of the things that I have noticed when I was putting it back together is inside here, in there, where this little felt pad is, you've got that bearing, but there is also a tiny ball bearing in the end. And if you look, see how I can move that? That's because there isn't one at this end. So unfortunately, because there's no bearing there, this axle, if you want, can jump around and go wherever it wants. But in order to prove a point that all that cleaning was worthwhile, listen. I'm not doing it any good really running it, because the problem is, you see this here where all the coils are, because it's not sitting in there properly, is bouncing around all over the place. But there you are, very quickly. You've seen it running, so that proves that muck and dirt and debris and sometimes too much oil can stop a motor from running. That motor, as you saw, ran, and it ran okay. So now it's going to be a chat to Peter or his staff, Peter Spares, which luckily for me is down the road, so that I can get a little ball bearing to go in this end so that this doesn't do that. I don't know whether you can see that, but look, I can move it all over. So that won't have been helping at all. You can also see that I've disconnected some of the resistors and crap. There's no point in all that stuff. You don't really need it anymore. So what we're going to do, I'm going to shelve this for today because this is Sunday, 25 to 7. So we're going to shelve this. We know we've now got a running motor. We know that it's okay. So we're going to shelve it till I can get that ball bearing. Once I've got that, I'll fit that. I'll talk you through probably what I did with putting it back together and point out the little bits and pieces. And we'll check that we've got a motor that runs quietly and doesn't bounce around, etc., like it is at the moment. And then we'll stick it back in there, and it'll be a Triang Pullman again. So anyway, we'll catch up with you in a bit. Ta-ra.